everybody, hope you're having a good day today. Here at Susu Naturals, we wanted to show you how we make our 100% olive oil Castile soap. There's a lot going on in this household during COVID-19, a lot of creativity flowing. You might be able to hear my husband, he's a musician, he's in the studio making noise, so that'll be our background soundtrack. Anyway, let's get at it. Things that you need. I will post the links and the lists down below of the things that I buy, where I buy them, and hope you find this informative. First of all is we need a crock pot. The crock pot that I found, I got it secondhand, and perhaps in my overhead camera you'll be able to see. You really need equipment dedicated to only soap making if you're going to do this. Recommended to use stainless steel or plastic. Pyrex is okay, but stuff gets really hot. And I find with the crock pot, after batches and batches of soap, the lye solution eats away at that shiny finish, and I would hesitate to cook food in it. This one I got from a friend, and I use it only for soap making. That way there's no worry at all. What you're using when you make soap is lye, which is a very potent and harmful chemical. So I recommend you suit up with gloves and eye protection. Because if you splash yourself with the solution, it will burn, it'll eat a hole in your clothes. So you must be very careful. So let me get set up here. I also really wouldn't recommend this as a project to do with kids. The solution that we make in order to make soap is very caustic, and I would feel awful if your kids got burned. So maybe try this yourself, and maybe with older children and strict supervision, it would help. But you definitely need plastic protective eyewear and rubber gloves and long sleeves if you're kind of sloppy. You really don't want to splash yourself at all. If you do, with the water and the lye solution that we're going to be making, cider vinegar is great. I keep it right by the sink, and all of a sudden, you know, I feel a little burn going on. Just pour cider vinegar over it, and it neutralizes it right away. Of course, we're making liquid soap, so we're going to be using potassium hydroxide. This I purchased online from Essential Depot. Another very important piece of equipment that we need is a good digital scale. I use plastic containers, old yogurt things, to do my water and my lye mixture. Well, let's just get at it and I'll show you. Recipes down below. We are going to measure out 6.5 ounces of potassium hydroxide. It comes in flake form, so it kind of looks like salt crystals, like if you're up north and that's what you throw on your sidewalk in the snow. So we're going to shake out 6.5 ounces. Then we're going to measure out our water. Only use distilled water. Get it at Walmart. 11.5 ounces of water. to set that aside for a minute, and I'm going to get my oils warming in the crock pot. I set it on low. This particular crock pot is, I don't know, maybe 2.5 quarts. It's kind of a bigger one. Not as big as a turkey, but bigger than the little ones. And it's got high 4 hours, high 6 hours, low 8 hours, low 10 hours. I just put it on low 10 hours because I'm going to leave this overnight. Let's measure out our oils. You notice that this scale measures fluid ounces, pounds, milliliters, grams, and there's a thing called tare, T-A-R-E. You put your empty container on top of the scale and it will register how much that container weighs. In this particular instance, it's 3.4 ounces. But I only want to weigh the oil that's in it. So I press the tare button and it takes away the weight of the container. For this recipe, we're going to use 32 ounces of olive oil. And I use 100% virgin olive oil. Okay, so we've got our oil weighed out. And I'm gonna put it in the crock pot and let that warm up a bit. Here's the dangerous part, is adding the potassium hydroxide lye and the water together. What's going to happen is it's going to shoot up to over 200 degrees. It's really, really hot. I have never melted through a plastic container, but I always worry about it. You have to be really careful. Never, ever, ever, ever pour water into the potassium hydroxide flakes. That will explode, apparently. I've not ever done it, and everything I've ever read about soap making is you always pour the dry lye into the water, and it's gonna scare you to death. So we'll give this a go, and I'll show you what I mean. Now is the time to put on a long sleeve shirt if you're so inclined, and safety glasses, which are going to go right over my prescription glasses because I can't see. Okay. Let me make sure you all can see this from the overhead. There's my water, okay? And there are the lye flakes. And just take your spoon and stir. Can you hear that? Be really careful not to splash. Once it is completely, once the lye has dissolved, let's pour it into the oils. All right. This is the beginning of soap. The next part is a really, really long process. The other piece of essential equipment that you need to have is a really good stick blender. You want to just stir that with a spoon for a couple of minutes, and then get your stick blender going. This part of the process is called bringing the soap batter to trace. and you'll see what I mean. The stick blender helps move the process along 100 times faster. Doing is incorporating the lye mixture into the olive oil, and the secret weapon that makes this soap so wonderful is 8 ounces of vegetable glycerin. Can also be purchased anywhere. Okay, we're going to measure out 8 ounces of glycerin. Okay, and that goes right into the soap batter. The soap batter is going to change color. When we first melted the oils, it was kind of a clear golden olive oil color. You add the potassium hydroxide to it and take the stick blender to it, and now it kind of looks like lemon curd. It's opaque and not clear anymore. And you are going to stick blend intermittently like this for about 5. So after about 5 minutes of stick blending, it's getting kind of creamy and a little tiny bit thicker. What you've just done with the stick blending is making sure that the glycerin, the water, and the potassium hydroxide and the olive oil are really mixed up together really, really well. At this point, we're going to cover the crock pot and let it sit for like maybe 30 minutes. What's going to happen, and I'll take some pictures of it, it's going to ultimately turn translucent and get very, very thick and gooey to the point where you can't stick blend it and you won't be able to even get a spoon in it. It'll be like, well, I don't even know, like Play-Doh. I mean, just really thick, and that's what it's supposed to do. You may have some areas around the edge of the crock pot that are kind of white looking, but basically it's going to turn into a gel, a very, very thick gel. And that is going to be our soap paste. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes, I guess, and I just stick blended it again. It's much, much thicker. You can see the consistency. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. Well, our soap paste has nicely gelled. It's like a real thick, rubbery, you can't hardly get a spoon through it. This is now soap paste. I'm going to cook it for maybe another hour or so. And then what we do is dilute it. At this point, now that you've got soap paste, you could let it cool in the crock pot until it's easy enough to handle, and then I have scraped it all out into a ziplock bag, and it will keep in the bottom back corner of the refrigerator for a long, long time. Generally what I do is I'll go ahead and dilute it. I have a couple of really great glass 2-gallon jars, kind of like big wide mouth, huge pickle jar looking things. I just take more distilled water, pour it right over top of the soap paste in the crock pot, leave the crock pot on, and I leave it on all night long. And every time I pass by through the kitchen, I'll give the thing a stir. And it takes a really long time for the soap paste to dissolve. But basically, you now have liquid soap that can be decanted in bottles. I pour the whole thing in the big giant. This will make fill up the 2-gallon thing that I have. Or if you would like to do some additives, so you can add a little bit of vegetable dye if you want pink soap or blue soap to match your bathroom decor. This is also another really great time. You can add essential oils for fragrance. I don't use any synthetic fragrance oils just because I'm down the natural highway. So any good quality essential oil